Don't lie to me, I promise I'll leave. I believe that I have over 15,000 subscribers over here. I asked you guys to help me to reach 15K, and I would have a special treat for you once we did. We're actually a little bit past 15K, so as promised, because I am a man of my word, I'm doing what I told you guys I was gonna do, which is a face reveal. That's right. Finally, you guys get to see what I really look like. So tell me in the comments, does my face match my voice? Are you surprised to find out that I'm black?
Bruh.
Well, joke's on you because I'm only half black. But for reals, my name is Gypsy, this is Broken Dolly TV, and today we're gonna play a fun little game that I have been saving to do for my 15,000 subscriber video. I have severe ADHD that somehow tries to coexist with my autistic hyperfocus mindset. I couldn't make up my mind about what to do for a 15K special, which is why I didn't announce to you guys exactly what I was planning to do. So what I decided was, don't make a decision, just do all of it. So I'm just gonna have a whole bunch of different 15K special videos coming to celebrate with you guys, and we're halfway to 16K, so let's see how quick we can get to 20K. I know there's another 4,000 pretty people out here that love dolls. So feel free to share this video with your friends on your social media networks. If you are a content creator, you absolutely have my permission to react to whatever you want over here or reference the channel in any way that you see fit. Plug yourselves in the comment section if you would like as well. Today we're gonna play Would You Rather, okay? So I have 15 questions that I'm going to be answering concerning my Barbie doll collection. But I want you to play along by answering the questions yourselves in the comments as you hear me giving my responses. Of course, you don't have to answer every single one, but if you hear one that is interesting to you, then leave me your response. If you want the full list of questions, I have it right in the description box. Feel free to copy and paste it wherever you want so that if you need the questions to make your own video, you can do so, and hopefully you'll tag me so I can come and look at the video that you post. By no means do you have to answer all of them, of course. You can just pick the ones that you want to answer, but I thought this would be fun if we all kind of like did it together. So the reason why I wanted to try this was to see how much of us actually think alike as doll collectors, or if we're totally unique in the way that we collect. So I did post one of these questions in my community post section, so I'll share that one with you when we get to that question. So here we go with number 1. Would you rather have unlimited space for your Barbie collection but a limited budget, or an unlimited budget but barely any storage space? I guess this would depend on how much the actual budget is. Like, what is the limit to the limited budget? Is it like $10? I don't know if I could work with that. I think I would say I'd rather have an unlimited budget but barely any storage space, as painstaking as that sounds. But the reason why is because I already experienced what it's like to have a big collection in a very small space, and it was torture. But I think I learned from that experience that I don't need to have all of my dolls out on display. I think when I had under 100 dolls, I was definitely on a mission to be able to like visually see my entire collection. So I was always making space for another doll to be added to the shelf. But when you only have 100 dolls or less, that's more feasible. It's not so overwhelming. By the time I was leaving the state of Washington, where I last lived, the space that I had to work with there was occupied by at least 300 dolls actively in my collection. So I'm not counting rejects, floating heads, like dolls that I need to work on, just the dolls that I consider display ready. About 300 dolls, and there was no way in hell I was gonna fit 300 dolls on display in that space, and I didn't. But that didn't make me want to not add dolls, and I still was buying dolls that I guess you would consider very pricey dolls. Some of my Grail dolls that I spent a lot of money on, I acquired while living there. Based on that experience, and also the opposite, before I lived there, like I said, I had a huge house with lots of space to display my dolls, and I was on a mission to pull every single one out of the box to display them all at once. But I had less dolls then. So just based on those experiences, I'm gonna say that I would rather have an unlimited budget. Sky is the limit for which doll I could buy. You know what dolls I would get every Grail doll would be like in my collection. I'd be okay with barely having any storage space because I don't have a need to see all of my dolls at one time. But of course, this also counts my space to display the doll, because that's part of the storage, and to hold the dolls in storage. So I'd have to like stack the dolls on top of each other this way, rather than having them spread out this way, if that makes sense. I don't know, I would have to get creative with it, but I think I could do it. And having an unlimited budget for dolls that you could add to your collection doesn't necessarily mean that you'll have lots of dolls. I've become more picky about what dolls that I will add to my collection. So even if I had an unlimited budget, I wouldn't buy like every Fashionistas doll because I don't want them. Question number 2. Would you rather only collect dolls that are brand new in box, so every doll you add to your collection has to be factory sealed, or only collect secondhand dolls with unknown history? These dolls might come with messy hair, missing accessories, or unknown past owners. You also could find some rare gems at great prices. Bruh. This one for me, unfortunately, is a little bit of a no-brainer. Though I, of course, would love to have so many dolls that are new in box. If I could only have them and have them sealed in boxes and I could never take them out, I don't know that I would want to do that. The fun for me in doll collecting is taking them out of the boxes and maneuvering them, customizing them, touching them, posing them. They just feel so trapped when I look at the dolls in the box. I feel like I can't breathe. Of course, most of the dolls that I like are modern dolls, so that would be very challenging for me to cope with. But secondhand doll doesn't mean that it has to be new in the box, and it doesn't mean that it can't be a modern doll. Like, I found all kinds of dolls on eBay that would be considered secondhand, and they weren't sealed inside the boxes when I bought them, but they were still in good condition. Technically new, they just weren't in sealed boxes. So if I could get my hands on the dolls that I want, even if they were out of the box, secondhand, I'd be okay with that. That's what I would pick. Question number 3. Would you rather have to sell your entire current collection and start over, or never be able to buy another Barbie again? Oh my God. This is like the worst question to ask any doll collector, but okay, this is hypothetical. Sell my current collection and start over. Yikes, that's hard because there's so many Grail dolls that I haven't added to my collection yet, and so many on my wish list that I haven't added to my collection yet. There's a difference. Like the Barbie Basics dolls, I want the whole first wave for sure. But if I stopped collecting right now, then I will never get those dolls. Oh my gosh. This is actually a real dilemma that I've been sort of like skirting around, but not really putting too much thought into, because I'm kind of telling them I'll worry about it when the time comes. Is the notion of, if I was to move to another country, what would I do? Like, I would obviously take all my dolls with me, but then when newer dolls come out, I wouldn't necessarily be able to get my hands on a lot of the dolls that I have access to now because I live in America. And that is a very scary question that I don't know how to process, so I try to stay away from thinking about it as much as I can. But my family is contemplating moving to another country, so it's just something that's always like playing in the back of my mind. And this question kind of makes me think on that level. Sell my entire collection and start over again? Dang. No. I wouldn't sell my entire collection because there's so many dolls in my collection that are very like sentimental dolls that I want to pass down to my kids, and I can't imagine not having them in my collection. And I have sold dolls previously that I thought that either I would be able to replace or I'd be okay letting go. And then afterwards I completely regretted it. And I've had times when my collection was just lost to me for various reasons. And to this day, I'm still traumatized by that experience and very regretful. If I found out somebody had like a bag of my lost dolls that just ended up in their home for some reason, like they found it all at a thrift shop or something, I would try to buy it all back. Based on that, I would say no, I would not sell my entire collection. If it meant I could not add any more dolls to my current collection, I would have to just deal with it and really enjoy and and customize my existing collection to make it feel fresh and new each time. It's such a scary thought to think I could never add another doll. But one of you guys, I think it was Blake Gildafish, said that you stopped collecting dolls, like, and you're just getting like accessories and stuff for your dolls now. What? Like, I can't even imagine saying that out loud. Are you sure? Are you sure you stopped collecting? I can't even believe it. Like, what do you consider not collecting anymore? I just can't believe it. He's saying that he don't buy no more new dolls, but I can't. How you do that? You're just done? How? Like, I don't get it. Number 4, would you rather only be able to collect dolls with stiff bodies or only be able to collect dolls that are missing their original outfits? Okay, so if all my dolls have stiff bodies, they come in their original clothes, or I can get articulated dolls, but they won't have any of their original clothes. I would pick that one because I don't need their original clothes. All of my dolls, every single last one of them, are stripped from their original clothing defaults. That's just the way that I collect. So for me, not having their original clothes would be no problem. If they were all naked, it wouldn't matter. As long as they have the ability to move, that would compensate for not having the clothes for me. Because not only do I take my dolls out of their original clothes, I also body swap every single one of them onto articulated bodies if they don't already come that way. So that one's easy. I'm shocked that one of these questions is easy. Number 5, would you rather give up buying dolls for an entire year or give up restyling and customizing dolls for an entire year? What? For the next year, if I buy a doll, that means I cannot do any customizing to her. Or if I want to be able to customize my dolls, then I can't buy any new ones for a year. I would rather give up restyling and customizing dolls for an entire year. Why? Because all the dolls that I currently have in my collection are already customized. For the most part, I've already restyled and customized them. Yeah, this is a weird question though. Like, what do you mean by restyling? Do you mean like change the hairstyle? Change the clothes? Something as minimal as that? Just like a new hairstyle? Is that considered restyling? So they have to stay exactly the way they came in box, like my Dia de Muertos dolls that are still in the boxes. That doesn't sound very fun to me, but because it's only for a year, it's only a temporary amount of time, I would hold off on restyling my dolls if it meant I could continue collecting for the next year. Because there's gonna be so many dolls that I'm gonna want in the next year that I'd rather have in my collection even if I can't style them until the year's over, versus they need to ask these questions like, for 10,000 bucks, would you rather? Because that's kind of how I'm thinking about it in my head. Like, what am I getting out of this? Yeah, for me, I think that it would be a lot easier to go longer not adding customization to my dolls and just not adding any new dolls. I could hold off on the customizing. I'm be okay. It's only temporary. But if I miss a doll that I could have got just so I can pop somebody's head onto another body, I'd be like, what? That's whack. Okay, this one's a little tricky. Number 6, would you rather own an ultra rare Barbie prototype that nobody knows exists, or own a mass-produced Barbie that is your personal holy grail? So when you say nobody knows it exists, then that means, like, I'm just gonna interpret it like this. That means no one can know that I have this doll. Like, it's a prototype, it's secret, and no one's allowed to know about it, and only I see this doll, but she's super exclusive, versus a mass-produced Barbie that's my own personal holy grail doll. I'm gonna have to go with the mass-produced holy grail doll because I do already have a bunch of dolls on my grail list that I want that are mass-produced dolls. And if somebody was to say to me like, yo, I got this beautiful doll that is a one of a kind, but you can't tell nobody about it, okay? You can't tell no pictures, you can't post it no place. It's a big top secret, you want it? And I could pick between that doll and one of my holy grail dolls that are mass-produced dolls. I think I would just pick the mass-produced because the one-of-a-kind dope doll exclusive would not have been on my radar like that. So like I never would have knew what I missed, and nobody else knows that I'm missing it because I can't tell nobody about the doll anyway. You know, not that I care. I don't care if people know what dolls I have. I think I have dolls in my collection that I've never posted one picture of anywhere. Like nobody knows I have the doll, but I just like the doll. So that's what I mean. Like unless that doll is like so special, when I see it, I just fall in love with it, which is not a guarantee. I know for sure I love the dolls that are on my grail list, and I would just be so like happy to have them in my collection. So I think that's the option I would probably go with. But with this question, I don't think there's a wrong answer, because I mean, can you go wrong with a one-of-a-kind doll that's so fly? Even if it's a big secret and no one can set eyes on it, I mean, it's a little bit of a shame, because dolls are meant to be admired, and like I'm the only person that's allowed to know what this doll looks like. Number 7, would you rather unbox and restyle a vintage collector Barbie, like a 1959 original #1 Barbie, the very first Barbie ever made with her iconic black and white striped swimsuit and arched eyebrows? Or keep a Playline Barbie in box forever, like the LA Girls fashionista skipper? No. I don't want to keep no Barbies in a box forever, okay? If it means that my super rare, ultra exclusive vintage doll comes out of the box, I will be okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. She doesn't have to be in the box. I probably will take her out anyway. So that's my answer. Numero 8. Would you rather have a dream Barbie collaboration with your favorite celebrity, or have Mattel release a doll based on you? Both very interesting choices. I would pick one of each if I could. I probably would rather have the doll that's based on me. Why? Because as we see with Miss Aaliyah over here, Barbie does immaculate work on dolls that are made to the likeness of real people when they feel like it. So I would want to capture myself as a doll, but not because I'm a narcissist, but because all of us who are doll collectors, I shouldn't say all of us, but a lot of us who are collectors have a mini-me. There's always that perfect sculpt that you're looking for that is going to be the closest resemblance to yourself, that you identify as yourself shrunken down into doll form. I've gone through, I want to say, 2 mini-me's so far. If I found a doll that was based on me, obviously, then my search would be over. Like, there would never be no more upgrades needed, because this doll already got my face. So that's what I would go with, versus a collab with a celebrity, meaning like you could work with somebody who's famous to create a doll with them, or maybe have a doll designed by them or something like that. But that doesn't interest me, because I'm not a celebrity junkie. Like, I don't really care about celebrities. A celebrity is not special to me because you're a celebrity. You're just another person like I am, who just happens to be very well known for whatever talent or whatever it is that you have, which a lot of people who aren't celebrities also have. So you're not special. You're just another person. So in my mind, that's not really enough of a reasoning to forgo having a doll of myself. But I would be honored to have someone like Carlisle Noguera design the doll for me that is based on myself. Does he count as a celebrity? In a way, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds, because if Mattel's gonna make a doll of you, one of their top-notch designers obviously have to work with you to create the doll, because I don't know what I'm doing. So if I could pick which designer, I would probably pick Carlisle, because he's so good at making Blasian dolls and like doing the SketchUps for it, and he would just capture me, I think, perfectly. But I'm reading too much into the question here, okay? Number 9, would you rather only be allowed to collect dolls that have fantasy hair colors, or only collect dolls that have traditional hair colors like brown, black, blonde, and such? This one's a real hard one. Probably the hardest question I've had to answer so far. All fantasy or all natural hair tones? Obviously, I'm gonna pick natural hair colors. What? For me, this one is too easy, okay? No, I don't care about all the kooky hair colors. I don't need greens and blues and purples and oranges in my doll's hair color. I don't care. I don't care. If you give me the usual browns and black, blonde, redheads, I'm fine with that, especially because we can mix those tones together with highlights and lowlights and different combinations of ombre hair colorings and different styles like that to make it more like spruced. I don't necessarily need hot pink. Honestly, a lot of my dolls are half fantasy hairstyles. I only like them because of their faces. If they didn't come with those hair colors, I wouldn't give a damn. Like this purple haired one right back here, that is a Kira face sculpt, or a Nico for some of you. She's a fashionista doll with the dreaded polypropylene purple hair. Now her very light pastel hair color is beautiful, I love it. But that's not why I wanted that doll. I wanted her because I thought she had a cute face and I liked her outfit that she came with. So that's really the whole appeal of that doll. If I could get that doll rerouted with better saran hair quality, if the color ended up being a natural hair color, it wouldn't bother me at all. I wouldn't feel like, oh, I'm missing out on her purple hair. And no, I don't care. I'm not in the mood to be rerouting her, so it is what it is. Number 10, would you rather be able to customize and create your own perfect Barbie from scratch or own every single Barbie fashion pack ever released? Oh my gosh, that's a lot of fashion packs, bro. Customize and create your own perfect Barbie from scratch. Again, this is a little bit like the question about if I would rather have my own mini-me or just work with a celebrity. So do I want every fashion pack ever made by Mattel? I mean, that's a lot. My dolls would probably never need new clothes. Or that one perfect doll from scratch. I'm gonna pick the perfect doll. Although it's very tempting to own every fashion pack ever released, I already have a whole lot of fashion packs here. 85% of the clothes I have I don't use. The reason is because my taste in fashions have drastically changed since I started collecting, and I just don't have the sensory capability of dealing with all the stimuli and the prints and the colors that Mattel's clothes are made with. Also, some of the fashions themselves, like the style, the design of the clothes, are not to my liking. They look like something like a cartoon character would wear. They just don't feel very realistic. And my taste in my dolls' fashions is very geared towards realistic looking things that people in real life would probably wear. A lot of my clothing stash is useless, honestly. I just bought some dye so I can see if I can have my son help me to dye a lot of the clothing that have all these crazy prints on them, because the colors are they just hurt my eyes. So for me, it's not that tempting to add every single fashion pack that has ever been created. Because of it, maybe 10% is something that I would actually end up using. The rest would just probably end up in a garbage pile. So that's not as tempting for me as having a doll that is like the perfect doll. Like if I could customize her exactly the way that I want, that would be so much fun and so meaningful, and that doll would have such a high place in my most special tier of dolls. And I can always, just buy the fashion packs. They don't cost that much. The specific fashion packs that I want to dress that doll with or create clothing from scratch. There's handmade clothing. There's so many more options with clothing other than what Mattel makes that I feel like, yeah, I'd rather have the doll than the clothes. So here is the one that I posted in my community post to see what you guys thought about this question. Number 11, would you rather wake up to find that one of your dolls came to life or suddenly be able to shrink down and hang out in your Barbie dream house? But if you could shrink down into the dream house, the dolls cannot come to life. So I think I would rather wake up to find that my dolls were alive than to shrink down into their size. Some of you guys who answered this question in my post, about 54% of you guys said that you would rather find that your dolls came to life than to shrink into. So it was kind of in the middle, right? Like half of you guys said this and half of you guys said that. Very interesting. The people who elaborated, so one person, Blue Ranger, said, would the dolls be able to remember the things I've done to them if they could come to life? Which I thought was a very good question. Does that change things? If they come to life, are they gonna start questioning me? Are they gonna be like, what's with all these holes you stuck in my ear, But at the same time, I kind of feel but they're still plastic. So even though they'd have consciousness, maybe they can't feel all the things that we did to them. Or would your doll be like, I never wanted articulation. Can you put me back on my original body, bro? Then what? And then another person, Ruby Gemstone, they said, what if your doll's personality isn't actually the personality you assigned to them? They came to life, but then what if they're nothing like what we thought the doll would be like? Is that worth it? These are really good questions. I guess when I think about it, I think I'd rather still have the doll come to life than me go into the dollhouse and I'm just there with them. Because even if their personality isn't anything like what I assigned to them, I would be very interested to see what they are like. For example, when you have children, in your head, you're telling yourself, oh, this kid's gonna grow up to be a master artist. I'm gonna teach it 7 languages. Like, you have all these thoughts and plans and ideas for your kids. But then they come out and then they develop and then you get to know them and you're like, you're nothing like I thought you were gonna be. But I still love you. You know, like, look at all these dolls I amassed thinking I was gonna pass them down to my daughter. I wanted a daughter so bad because I thought she was gonna be interested in dolls. My daughter has no interest whatsoever in dolls, ever, at all. She don't care, she don't like them. I was never having to like guard my dolls from my daughter because I thought she was going to like mess them up when she was a little girl. She just had no interest, whereas with my son, he had a lot more interest in my dolls than my daughter when he was little. We used to like play dolls together. He would help me create room boxes. He was very like artistic, so he was always trying to like make stuff for the dolls. We had a blast like creating and crafting together when he was a kid and we would play dolls. But with my daughter, no. Does that mean I like either one of them better or worse than the other? No, they're nothing like how I envisioned they would be when they were born, but I still like the people who they are. I find them interesting, learning new things about my kids. Like, since when you didn't like eating mushrooms? I've been feeding you mushrooms your whole life. What are you talking about? You know? So I think I would probably look at my dolls the same way. If they came to life, I would find it very charming and quirky that they have their own interests and ideas and feelings, even if it's very different than the way I envisioned that they might be. Like this one here, Griselda, who was a gift from Cutie Erica. She's an Integrity Toys doll. Based on how she looks, I always think of her as a very snooty person who just can't be bothered. Like, just don't bother her with little trivial things because she don't got the time for it. But what if she came to life and it turned out she was like the sweetest, nicest, kindest, most compassionate person that ever walked the earth? Truly, I would be shocked. I think this is a hard question. Number 12. Would you rather find your holy grail at a thrift store for only $5 or win an unlimited shopping spree at the Barbie Signature store for 5 minutes? $5 versus 5 minutes. Bro, what are you doing to me? Oh my goodness. Okay, how do you answer this one? 5 minutes to shop for everything I want. No price limit. This is actually a harder question to answer than you would think. Well, here's the thing. Your holy grail doll at a thrift store doesn't necessarily mean that the doll is out of your reach because it's so expensive. It could just be that they are discontinued, so they're not even available to buy anymore. But I can't think of what doll is on my holy grail list that is so unattainable that I wouldn't be able to just buy the doll somewhere when I had enough money to splurge on it, versus 5 minutes in the Barbie Signature shop, and I can already think of a handful of dolls that I would get if I could just pull them off the shelves and I had 5 minutes to decide. The only problem with this 5 minutes is 5 minutes really enough time? I mean, gosh, because I want to compare the faces. I would be getting neurotic in there, like, I gotta make sure it doesn't have a wonky eye. Hold on, wait, I need a couple more minutes. You know what I'm saying? So that would really be the challenge for me, not deciding which dolls I want to add. And I already kind of know off the top of my head which dolls I would pick. How big is this shop? Because how quickly would 5 minutes be eaten up if I had to go aisle after aisle after aisle, looking down the aisles, trying to find the right dolls that I want to add, because I don't want everything. I want specific dolls, you know? So that's another question that pops into my head and trying to answer this one. But honestly, I mean, if I just had to make a quick decision, I would say take me to the store. Give me the 5 minutes, because the Grail doll, I'm okay spending a little bit more on those dolls, even if I can't find it for $5, because I've already like resolved my mind to have to spend the money on those dolls. Whereas with an unlimited check to Barbie Signature shop, bruh, I'm good. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pick the ones that I want, you know? Okay, so now let's go on to number 13, which asks, would you rather only be able to buy dolls with amazing articulation but terrible facial screenings, or dolls with stunning faces but with unposable stiff bodies? Both sounds like a nightmare. Pretty faces but stiff bodies versus fugly faces and articulation. Oh Lord, I don't want to pick either one. I don't want either. Well, here's the thing. let's weigh this, okay? Maybe you would pick the terrible faces but articulated bodies if, like me, you are somewhat familiar with customizing your dolls and there's a chance that you could salvage those faces by actually repainting them. And with some dolls, you don't have to do a full repaint. You can just give them some touch-ups. And that could work, especially if they're not pixel faces. I've been seeing some dolls that have very pretty screenings, but just because they're pixelated, I don't be wanting the doll. I mean, what exactly does that mean, terrible faces? Does that mean they're like ugly? I doubt that. No, I shouldn't say that because I have seen some ugly dolls. Let's just say it's Mattel. Mattel doesn't generally make ugly dolls. They just make a lot of plain Janes when they don't put that much effort into the doll screening. So is that what you're saying when you say that their faces are terrible? Or like, are they wonky terrible, you know? Faces that are just slapped on there like the dollar store dolls, barely any work done to them and no symmetry. It's just so many things that could be wrong with the face that it's like, could I salvage this face as long as the articulation is good? Or have beautiful faces, no problem whatsoever, but you are stiff as a board. Ugh, I can't even imagine having like a whole collection of dolls that are stiff as a board. Before all of this articulation was so readily available, you kind of only had a choice of getting the 5-point articulation fashionista style bodies for the most part anyway. That didn't stop me from adding dolls to my collection at the time. I did used to have at some point a bunch of stiff bodies. Based on that, I guess I'll go with the pretty faces with no articulation. I don't know, it just feels wrong saying this. Like, it just feels like I'm BSing. Like, now that I've been spoiled by articulation, I don't want to go without it, you know? That's why I did before, because we didn't have the option. Now that I've experienced having dolls that have joints, I'm like, how could I not, you know? I don't know. Would I go through the trouble of fixing their faces up just to have the articulation in my collection? Okay, so far this one is the hardest question for me to reason and like pick one or the other. Just both answers feel so wrong. Yeah, you know what? Knowing my personality, I think I would probably deal with the so-so faces and try to fix them than to just settle for no articulation because I'm already spoiled. I'm already spoiled, you know? It is what it is. Alright, number 14. Would you rather have every doll you owned displayed perfectly with unlimited space, or have every single doll accessory ever made but no way to display them due to space limitations? So by accessory, this question is saying like the doll houses, the cars, the clothes, like everything that comes with, you know, the furniture packs that comes with Barbie dolls. Would you rather have all of those but having like no place to put them? Or would you rather have all the space you can possibly need to display what you already have in your collection as far as your dolls are concerned? I would rather have the unlimited space so I can perfectly display all of my dolls. If I could perfectly display all of my dolls and not sacrifice the space, I absolutely would right now. I don't even have like a lot of accessories to go with my dolls. I've downsized that part of my collection years ago when I moved to this smaller place that I lived in Washington, so I don't anymore have like my kid craft doll house. I don't have shelving that I use as like rooms to display my dolls in. I don't have cars, boats, campers, like furnitures and sets. I don't have none of that stuff. I don't have my cool kitchen set, my Gloria set, and all of the stuff that I used to have when I had a bigger place where I could display the dolls at. But not having those things hasn't made me feel that sense of like regret and emptiness that I have when I downsize my actual dolls in my collection because I'm trying to save space. Like I always say, I'm not really a doll collector, you guys. I'm not in denial. I'm serious. I'm not a doll collector. I am a face collector. If I could just have a house full of people with the most beautiful faces living with me and like they never wanted to leave, I would do that. I don't know if that's illegal. Like I'm not saying, oh, it's straight up abduct you. But if you voluntarily was like, yeah, I'll come live in your house. I don't gotta pay rent. I can just live there for free and you just look at me every day and let you do my hair. Like I would do that. If there was a person that would let me do that, bruh, I don't need these dolls. I don't need these dolls. But I can't do that in real life because it's like weird. Like, who would do that? You know what I mean? So yeah, so I have to settle for these plastic people that I can't quite interact with the way that I would like to. The plus side is my dolls don't get creeped out when I'm just staring at them and I'm like, wow, you're so pretty. You're really pretty. Do you know you're pretty? You're pretty. I love that you're so pretty. Oh, so pretty. Like, they don't get creeped out by that. But a human probably would. Leave it in the comments if you wouldn't be creeped out by me reminding you daily how pretty you are. Oh, Lord. That being said, I want to look at all my pretty faces that I have collected over the years, and this is why, if I had a way to display all of my dolls in my most perfect ideal display arrangement, yeah, I would do that. And just because of the way I'm thinking in my head how I want it to go, that would mean that my house would probably be 3 times bigger than it actually is right now, which I ain't complaining about because I love me a big house and I need me a lot of space. I'm a very claustrophobic person. Inadvertently, my unlimited display space would just come with a big house, and why would I not want to do that? Versus you gave me every single kind of doll accessory ever made, but I ain't got no place to put it because of space limitations. Been there, done that, no fun. I don't want to do that again. And that was not even with every accessory ever made. That was just with the existing collection I got right now. This last one, this one is probably a really hard one for a lot of you guys listening. Like, your heart's gonna be beating fast. Number 15. Would you rather find out that Barbie is permanently discontinued after this year, so 2025 dolls, this batch of dolls is the last of it. 2026, Barbie, who? What? Where? Nope, just part of history now. Or you have to get rid of half of your collection to keep the brand alive. Ooh, they said half the collection, okay? 50%. For some of us, that's like 10 dolls. For some of us, that's like 500. And for some of us, that's like 1,000. Huh. Barbie never makes another doll after 2025, that's the end of it. But I get to keep all the dolls I already have in my existing collection. Or Barbie says, we can continue, but only if you guys get rid of half your collections. You've got to donate them back to the company so we can recycle the plastic. Well, I'm gonna say that Mattel will be receiving a donation from this collector, and I'm gonna tell you why. Though I absolutely love my existing collection, yes, I do need to downsize. Like right now, in this moment, I do have a lot of dolls that I need to get rid of and cycle through so that I can make room in my collection for more dolls. So since I'm already in that mindset of which dolls do I need to get rid of, I probably would do that. The only thing is though, I'm not giving up the bodies. So a lot of the dolls, it would just be their heads, or I'd have to put them back onto the stiff bodies that they came with in order to sell them or donate them and like make it make sense. So this is why I haven't actually purged through my collection yet, because that's so much work. But if I had the patience to actually sit down and do it, and that was gonna save the company from discontinuing, then yeah, I'd absolutely do that. I would still be picking the half that I really love the most to stay in the collection, right? So the dolls that I would let go of are the ones that I can live without. Now, I don't know if that is literally 50%. I probably have like 20% of my dolls right now that I would probably be able to get rid of without my heart like beating too fast. If I had to come up with another 30%, I think I probably could justify it because there are some sculpts that I have way too many of. Too many Umbilis, I don't know if I need all of these. So yeah, I probably would have to narrow it down to maybe my favorite 2 or 3 of each of those sculpts that I have too many of. If you have too many of a certain head sculpt, it's probably not that rare. So if the company continues, then you can probably just add them back into your collection later. So that's kind of how I would justify that. So I can't wait to see which of these questions you guys answered. I was honestly shocked that the hardest question for me to answer had to do with articulation versus face screenings, because it really makes me like kind of come to terms with how much the two coincide in my mind as far as like the perfect doll, being able to pose them and also having pretty faces to look at. Now, we're all different kinds of collectors that hang out over here. You might be very casually collecting or a very serious collector. You know, some of us, Barbies are like our primary dolls in our collection. That's like the first top tier dolls that we have, and then we dabble in in this and that and other things. And then for some of us, we're like major Rainbow High, Monster High collectors, all the fantasy dolls. And then we here and there, like maybe a vintage, maybe a cute modern, maybe a little collectible doll here and there of Barbies will add to our collection to kind of like spice it up a little bit. And some of us are avid Integrity Toys collectors. So your answers to some of these questions might be very different than mine. For me, because Barbie is the main thing that I collect, it's a huge influence in why I answer the questions the way that I did. What I would love to do is highlight some of you guys' answers in a future video. Maybe I can collect them and then we can go over them together. That would be pretty fun. Another thing I would love to do is do a part 2 to this video, but with viewer submitted would you rather questions. So if you have a would you rather scenario that you want featured in an upcoming video like this, leave it in the comment section so I can add yours to the list. And if you're not doing so already, you should be subscribed to this channel because I do post questions and like polls over in my post area. I really love to hear what you guys are thinking and feedback from you. So far, I've done a few of those already. You can scroll through and see which ones I've done if you want to answer them. The more people participate in the polls, the better idea we'll have of how we are collectively thinking over here. So what were the hardest questions for you to answer? Drop it in the comments and let me know if anything I said actually surprised you. This is Broken Dolly TV and I am Gypsy. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had fun with me and I'll see you in a future video. Thank you again for 15K subs. Help me get to 20,000 by sharing this channel with your friends. Stop lurking, just subscribe. It's free. You don't lose anything. I'll see you in the next one. Adios. Have a dolly day.